Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Amir Ohana, and coming up in today's newscast, Amir Ohana being the first speaker of the Knesset to be invited for an official visit to the parliament of a Muslim country. Meantime, Startup Nation Central hosting an event all about the energy tech ecosystem. And later, ILTV hearing the stories of the best wineries, and this time one all the way from Italy. The IDF today entered the Palestinian city of Ramallah and demolished the home of the terrorist who planted 2 bombs in Jerusalem last November, killing 2 civilians. ILTV's Steve Leibovich reports.
IDF security forces staged a rare raid into the Palestinian city of Ramallah, the seat of the Palestinian Authority of Mahmoud Abbas. The incursion was to carry out the demolition of the home of the terrorist behind the Jerusalem bus stop bombings at the entrance to the city and in the remote neighborhood of the capital last November. Palestinian militants confronted soldiers and clashes ensued. At least 3 Palestinians were injured by Israeli gunfire. The demolished home belonged to terrorist Eslam Farouk, age 26. Farouk was arrested in December and charged with planting explosives that killed 2 people at the entrance to the city and in the remote neighborhood of the capital. According to security officials, Farouk had adopted the ISIS worldview and studied mechanical engineering at an Israeli college. Israeli citizens Tadassa bin Mada and Aryeh Shekopek were killed in the blast when explosives placed by the terrorist detonated at 2 stops at the entrance to Jerusalem and in the remote neighborhood of the city.
The United States is calling for Arab Gulf states to deepen and normalize relations with Israel. And speaking to the Gulf leaders in Saudi Arabia, Blinken promoted the expansion of the Abraham Accords. ILTV's William Sharon reports.
Visiting Saudi Arabia, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken declared the U.S. is committed to the Gulf allies, expanding the Abraham Accords. Blinken spoke during a Gulf Cooperation Council ministerial meeting in capital Riyadh and declared, "We are collaborating with countries in the region to widen and deepen normalizations of relations with Israel."
The United States is in this region today, and we remain deeply invested in partnering with all of you to build the brightest and strongest possible future of the Middle East. And indeed, with GCC at the core of our vision for a Middle East that is more stable, more secure, more prosperous, more integrated.
The U.S. Secretary of State visiting the kingdom in a bid to strengthen ties with Riyadh as it pushes closer to America's adversaries at a time of rapidly shifting regional alliances. U.S. officials say Blinken raised the possibility of Saudi Arabia normalizing ties with Israel during his meeting with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Sources in Jerusalem say they believe the Biden administration will tie Saudi-Israel normalization to a potential nuclear agreement with Iran. Washington is reportedly asking that in return, that Israel refrain from launching a campaign to destroy such an agreement.
So we know the news is fast-paced, and we want to let you know that ILTV's new app is now available. So if you want to stay connected to the latest news from Israel, the Middle East, and the Jewish world, download our new app now on all your devices. It's available in the App Store for both Android and iPhone. Amir Ohana is the first speaker of the Knesset to be invited for an official visit to the parliament of a Muslim country. And in honor of the historic occasion, he decided to give the president of the Moroccan parliament a Quran printed with Israeli nanotechnology of only 4.7 millimeters in size. Take a look. The exciting gift will not be forgotten in Morocco nor in the rest of the Muslim world. Knesset Speaker Amir Ohana is currently on an historic visit to Morocco at the official invitation of the Moroccan parliament, President Rachid Talbi El Alami, where he presented today the tiniest Quran in the world with its 320,000 letters printed using Israeli nanotechnology at the Tel Aviv University. Ohana said that the peace agreements that I had the privilege of being a minister in the government that signed them make a significant breakthrough at the parliamentary level. On this occasion, I will give my Moroccan counterparts the smallest Quran in the world, something that expresses the connection between the old and the new, history and progress, while respecting tradition and the past. Ohana opened his visit putting on tefillin and praying Shema Yisrael at the well-known Rabbi Shalom Zawi synagogue in Rabat. This is the synagogue where his father, Amir Ohana, used to pray before immigrating to Israel. At the synagogue, Ohana met members of the Jewish community, telling them he's excited to meet them and excited to visit the place. Furthermore, during his visit, Ohana is expected to meet with senior officials in the Moroccan government, as well as with the heads of the Jewish community in the kingdom. I am hopeful that the strengthening of relations between the Kingdom of Morocco and the State of Israel will open up new horizons for the kingdom, that thanks to the courage of the Queen, King Mohammed VI, will see a good future for the next generations, said Ohana. And joining us now with more on Ohana's historic visit is reporter and analyst Amin Ayub. Hi, Amin. So, Transport Minister Miri Regev was just in Morocco for 8 days, and now a Speaker of the Knesset, Amir Ohana, is visiting. Why the sudden diplomatic flurry to Rabat in Morocco?
Well, basically, this is just a diplomatic flurry after the new government in Israel, and Amir this is not his first visit to Morocco. Being of Moroccan heritage, he's been in Morocco for many times. But this is, as you said, this is the first time a Muslim country actually invites the head of the Knesset for a visit. And this is being a historical visit after the Abraham Accords to Morocco.
So really, because it's an official visit, and not just him as a tourist coming to the country, how is he being accepted actually there? What do we know?
Well, actually, the local press is not covering this event heavily for some reason. And, also his visit is not being as publicized as the previous heads of the IDF and other personalities from Israel who visited Morocco. But it's actually being the Moroccan politicians and the parliament, people in the parliament are actually expecting a shift in Israel's vision and policy towards the Moroccan Sahara in the future with this visit.
That's interesting. Now, it's been reported that in order to gain full diplomatic relations, Morocco is asking that Israel publicly support its claim to the Western Sahara. What is it important to them to have our support on the issue? Is it a diplomatic problem for Israel?
It's not actually a diplomatic problem, but the Abraham Accords, especially with Morocco, were based upon the acceptance of the Sahara as being Moroccan. And President Trump at the time and Kushner, who actually brokered the Abraham Accords, and Morocco was one of the latest countries who actually accepted the accord. The Moroccanity of the Sahara was part of the accord. And this is why in Morocco, and we can see that the relationship was not as fully accepted as some other countries like the UAE. And this is still an issue. And with the current government, the Israeli government, I think that the Jerusalem issue is still a problem. And I don't think personally that the acceptance of the Moroccanity of the Sahara is going to be an easy issue to accept anytime soon.
And there's so many in Israel with Moroccan Jewish heritage, really one of the most vibrant communities. There has been limited tourism to Morocco for some time now, but now the gates are really opening. Do you expect an increase of Israeli tourism, and will Moroccans start visiting Israel in significant numbers?
Yeah, there is an interest. Right now, Israelis were always visiting Morocco, but the issue was the issuance of the visa.